All right, I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is just basically various topics dated, October 7th, 2025. And pretty much, I didn't really have much to go into, but all morning I've been listening to different videos and was listening to this this video that was on YouTube. I'm not sure if they still have it on YouTube, but it was called the secrets of the the secrets of the dollar bill, secret history of America. And pretty much it speaks about also the Phoenix. It says Eye of the Phoenix. And pretty much, the Phoenix, if you don't understand, is a mythical bird that, that dies and then rises back up from the ashes. And pretty much you could say this is pretty much the sentiment of America, because America, when they were the Roman Empire, before they were called America, that empire died, the Edomite Empire, but then they came back into power under, the so-called European Renaissance, which birthed America. And from the inception of America, America has been satanic. But when you try to do research on it now, they won't really give you much. They'll just tell you, no, those are myths. They're going to give you the talking points of the individuals that misdirect, the narrative to suit their favor. Much like Trump is doing now, threatening these different organizations, with either you get rid of pictures of slavery and the displacement of the North American Indians, or we won't fund you anymore. And pretty much this is what Esau does. They do wickedness and then they hide it when it starts being thrown in their face. But nevertheless, it is what it is. And the beautiful thing is that although, you may have the majority of the world that is fooled, the one that is not fooled is Yahweh and the son Yahushai and the angels. They're not fooled. And you're going to have to pay for the crimes that you've committed. So I'm just going to hit a few scriptures and see where the Spirit leads me. Whatever the Spirit feeds me, I'll feed you. I'll go as long as the Spirit allows. And then after that, I got to make some moves. So Psalms chapter 73 is a beautiful chapter because it goes all into the depths of Esau, the wicked, and, how they're, beginning with their elites, because the average, American and the average Edomite, they really ain't got it like that. If you're not tapped into the super elite, the international banking families, you're really a welfare case, even if you're a billionaire. Billionaires is chump change to the Rothschilds or Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts, and other families of that ilk that are the ones that are manipulating and controlling everything behind the scenes. And this is why they control all the different facets of government around the world, and are manipulating them and making it seem like the leaders. Now, the masses of the people in these countries, they're against America. They're against certain other countries. Oh, yeah, definitely. Because they bought, into the propaganda that was pushed to them by who? By their leaders. And the leaders are in bed with America. They're the ones that pretty much, control, the narrative of what you see going on under the guise of, these different, world rulers. They're against this and against the other, but they're not, because when we read scriptures like Jeremiah 51, Revelation 17, it tells you that these rulers are in bed with America. They're in bed with Babylon the Great, that harlot, and they're the ones that influence their, citizens to do what they do. And you, as you look around the world, you see everyone mimicking America. Such thing called Americanization. You could look that up. It's the influence of American, social, economic, business wise. I mean, you name it. The world is enamored. At the same time, hates America. It's a love-hate relationship because they hate America because of what it does, but they love America because of what it has brought forth as far as entertainment is concerned, as far as its freedoms to be a freak or be whatever you want, But the nations are starting to wake up to your wickedness, and we're coming to the age of, or the time of, the judgment that the Lord is going to bring upon you. The sentencing stage, is almost at a close. Pretty much what you could say right now, what's happening right now. These are the closing arguments. Like you'll have a trial, and then just before the judge gives his rule or judgment, you have the closing sentences. Forget exactly the terminology. And Salaki, I can't see the chat because I'm not before the screen upstairs because brothers doing some work up there, so I didn't want to disturb him while he was doing his work. So let's just start off here in Psalm 73 and 8 and then take it from there. Okay, Psalms chapter 73 verse 8, it said, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. So these devils are corrupt and they're rotten to the core. And this is why you cannot expect righteousness and true justice to come from a wicked individual that's rotten to the core, a soulless individual. The word there is mawak, which means to mock, deride, jeer. So they are, that's the word for corrupt. Is it the word for corrupt? Let me see. To deride, or did I click the wrong one? They are corrupt. Yeah, that's what I typed. I hit that, corrupt. Let's go to the Bible. NLT, they scoff and speak on only evil. Right. So that's why they are corrupt, because they scoff at righteousness, and they laud or praise wickedness. All right. It says they speak loftily. Yeah, they speak. To speak loftily is to be proud. Speak with a stiff neck. So they set their mouth against the heavens, right? Because how do they set their mouth against the heavens? Well, they talking shit to the Lord, talking about they could piss the Most High as much as they want because they have the technology to create weather, to create different things that they don't need the Most High no more, blah, blah, blah. You've heard the devil, the one that takes it up the ass. You've all know Harari. And their tongue walketh through the earth, right? And they push this madness all throughout the earth. And also the way they set their mouth against the heavens is by erasing or Xing out what the Heavenly Father looks like, what his Son looks like, what the angels look like, even though the scriptures give us, descriptions of what the Most High looks like with woolly hair. It gives a description of what the Messiah looks like, woolly hair and brown or dark brown skin. And Yahushua told Philip, he said, he'd have seen me, I've seen the Father, meaning I look just like my Father because he was made in the express image as his Father. So this is another way that they, their mouth speak against the heavens. And they push this madness throughout the earth. It says, therefore his people return hither and waters of a full cup are wrung out to them, right? Because through oppression, what we read in the 8th verse, and manipulating the people of the world, putting them in a quagmire, lending them absorbing amounts of money, that they know they can't pay, colonizing and conquering lands, they've amassed their wealth. And it's like they get every last bit. Like you have a rag that's wet and you squeeze it out, it might still be a little damp, but if you keep squeezing it, you keep getting drops of water. Well, they keep squeezing until there's no more water left in that rag. And this is why they're setting up this digital system. I was watching this documentary earlier on Ecuador and how, they introduced the Bitcoin, and how it was doing really well, and the people were doing pretty good. Then they kind of like started tanking a little bit, and they started doing bad, and then an American investor somehow dropped, I believe it was 6 figures, into the Bitcoin pool for them and helped them get back on their feet. Now, why do you think that person did that? And they said, and the guy that was narrating said, there was like a test, but he wasn't saying it like a test, for them to entrap the people. He was just, basically just speaking on the Bitcoin whole situation as a whole, So they did that because they have ulterior motives, because they want to bring this system to all facets of the earth. Wherever there's a thriving economy, wherever people are tapped into the internet, phones, and different technologies, they're bringing this new system, the digital system, in place. This is why you have, I'm not sure if he's a premier of England or whatever his title is. I don't know. I can't think of his names. Too many names to remember. My brain, after a while, your brain is, all right, that's enough. If I need somebody's name, I just look it up. That's why he said that there will be a digital system, and you will have to have that digital system in order to work in, England, And the thing is it doesn't matter what form the digital system takes. Ultimately, once they get the system in place, that's when they can put in the micro C-HIP. And this is what these clowns don't understand. Like we had, Prince of the Power of the Air talk about, we ain't talking about this stuff. Well, like Elder Pastor said, you ain't watching. You ain't watching the videos, because we've been talking about this, and we've been talking about it, and we talk about it. And the more stuff comes out, the more we talk about it, So it says, and they say, how does the Most High know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? So they think the Lord is blind to what they're doing. So it says, behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. And how do they increase in riches? Through deceit. This is why they set up the Federal Reserve System, which, like I said, I was, listening to that one, MP3 file I have on my phone, where it spoke about the secrets of the dollar bill. And even when you go to chat and you ask chat, is a dollar bill satanic? Is a dollar bill the all-seeing eye? Is that the eye of Satan? Blah, blah, blah. No, that's just conspiracy, So you're not gonna find a lot of that information unless you know or are tapped into different alternative medias and different individuals that go into the so-called conspiratorial, evidence, that these things are so, and from their inceptions and the different people that played a part, like Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson, and Lord, I believe it's Lord Francis Bacon or whatever the hell their names was, and you knowing their beliefs and the things that they said, and the denial of the Most High, so on and so forth, because they're the devil anyway. This is how you know that this society was set up and established under satanic principles. And outside of that, the main thing is what? The scriptures. The scriptures speak about Babylon being tapped into sorcery. So you're going to change the narrative because you don't want to put a stain on this place, but it's already out. The cat's already out the bag. So let's look up this word prosper. These are the ungodly. Oh, no, you know what? Let's look up the word ungodly, which the word Rashai goes back to the word Rai, which is evil. Rashai, wicked, criminal. See? So they are the wicked and they are the criminals. And this ties them in directly. That title, wicked, ties them in directly with who? With Cain. Let's go to, what is that? 1 John. 1 John, I believe it's chapter 3 and verse 12. Beautiful. Not as Cain, who was of what? That wicked one, and slew his brother. So his spiritual father was who? Satan, the spiritual demon Satan. Abel's spiritual father was who? The Most High, Yahweh. All right. And slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil, and his brothers righteous. And this is the same exact thing that these devils are doing. Because when you go to Wisdom of Solomon, I believe it's the second chapter, it goes into how they say they're going to, the wicked are going to persecute us, and they're going to do this, that, and the other, because we're not for their turn. We're different than them. We esteem them as counterfeits. And when you read from the first verse down, it says that the wicked reason, but not aright. So they're wicked and they're persecuting us because we are the righteous, and they understand that. They know that. And they know that they can't be the righteous, although they paint to the world that they are. It's just like putting a silk hat on a pig, or a crown jewel on a pig's snout. It's still a pig, no matter how you dress it up. So let's go back. So it says guilty one guilty of a crime. Wicked, hostile to the Most High, and they are hostile to the Most High. Why? Because that's what they were created to do. It says wicked, guilty of sin against the Most High or man, because they are the wicked, period. And it goes back to Rashai, and I'm sure if you keep going back, it's going to take you back to the word Rawai and then Rai. The word Rai is evil. Evil. All right, who prosper. Let's look at the word prosper. The word is shalawah. Quiet, at ease, prosper. See, so they're at ease, they're quiet. So when you have riches and you have everything, that you need, you're not stressed out. You're not worried. You're not running around as much. But now, when you get those riches by way that's not right, then you're not able to sleep at night because you're wondering if somebody's going to come and take these goods from you or these riches from you, because you know that the way you got them was wicked. And that's why the scriptures speak about the sleep is taken away from the rich. They can't sleep because they're always wondering if somebody's trying to get them. So how much more of these wicked individuals? All right. It says at ease of persons, quiet of land, quiet ease substantive, I believe it is, tranquil. So they're prosperous. They're living it up. These are the ungodly that prosper in the world. It says they increase in riches. And how do they increase in riches? By not right. It's the way they do it is not right. So let's go from there to Job 21:19. The Most High layeth up his iniquity for his children. So all of the wickedness that you've done to amass your wealth that you have, that's gotten of you wickedly, your children that are here today, because you Edomites that are here today, those of you so-called white people whose line goes back to the Edomites, those of you that are here today are nothing more than your forefathers back in the reincarnation. And this is why the Lord said the Most High layeth up his iniquity for his children, because technically the father does not pay for the sins of the son and vice versa. Is that Ezekiel 8? No, I don't think it's 8. What is that? 18. Ezekiel 18. Let me see. Let me try that. Ezekiel 18. Yep. Yeah, the old nugget's still working, bro. Ezekiel 18:4. Behold, all souls are mine. As the soul of the Father, so also the soul of the Son is mine. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. Right? Now, when we jump down to verse 19. Yet you say, why doth not the Son bear the iniquity of the Father? When the Son hath done that which is lawful and right, and hath kept all my statutes, is dealing with the Israelite, and hath done them, he shall surely live. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. The son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, neither shall the father bear the iniquity of the son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him. So why would it say here in Job 21 that the Most High layeth up his iniquity for his children? Because you are your fathers coming back. Let's go to Numbers 14. There's another one in Deuteronomy. I always remember this one for some reason. Numbers 14:18. It says, the Lord is long-suffering, Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai, and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty. That's why the Lord said that he will not at all acquit the wicked. You're going to pay. You don't want to, make yourself pay, but that's okay. The Lord's going to make you pay. And you're going to swallow it down too. Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. Why? Because they are their forefathers coming back. This is why in Isaiah, the 14th chapter, in the 21st verse, it says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. Why? Because they are their forefathers coming back. Because we just read in Ezekiel, the 18th chapter, that the soul that sinneth, it shall die. The father shall not bear the sins of the son, neither shall the son bear the sins of the father. So is this a contradiction? No. What it is if you understand reincarnation and that it is biblical, not the bugged out shit that the East Indians talk about. I'm talking about the real reincarnation, man being man, beast being beast. All right. There's no such thing as you're a man in this life, and the next life you're a woman, and then the next life after that you're a butterfly, and then after that you're an ant, and then after that you're a worm. No. All flesh is not the same flesh. All the different spirits that you see that come of the Most High, whether it's man, animal, insect, creeping things, whatever the case may be, they all come back in their lot. This is why it speaks about the prophets coming back in their lots. Why? Because that was a lot that was given unto them. You're not going to be a righteous prophet in the past, Jeremiah, then all of a sudden you come in this lifetime and you're a YN. It don't work like that. Because these spirits have been sealed before the world began. So every time they come on the earth, they're going to do the right thing. They're going to do the righteous thing. They'll stray off here and there, of course, because we know we're in this wicked world, but nevertheless, they're still going to do the right thing, and they're still going to return to the truth. It says that they do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the face of the world with cities, right? Because you see what has happened. You see the confusion and the destruction that these devils have caused on the planet. So much so that the earth is rising up against this devil. Because of the greed and the misuse of this world. So going back to Jeremiah 21 and 19, the Most High layeth up his iniquity for his children. Why? Because they are their fathers coming back. And this is why you have that devil Trump trying to erase all of the history, and the shameful things that these devils have done, because they're tired of it being thrown in their face. Well, the reason why it's being thrown in your face is because you're about to be judged for it. You have never been judged. You have never been brought, these charges have never been brought upon you. Because back during the time of slavery, back when the colonization of so-called America started happening, you couldn't speak back, to the so-called master. So in this time, when we're coming down to the very end, the Lord has put the spirit on his prophets, beginning with his prophets. And you have even other Israelites out there that don't even know that they're Israelites, speaking about the misdeeds and the corruption, and the wickedness that you devils have done to our people. And what is that? That's the spirit of the Lord condemning you. And you're tired of hearing about it. But you're going to continue to hear about it because this is what you've done, and you have not paid for it. You have not made it right. You had the Japanese, during World War II in concentration camps for 2 years, and you compensated their families $20,000 each, which that's a slap in the face. But hey, At least they got their compensation. Here it is with us, beginning with the so-called Negroes, the Native Americans, the Latinos, so on and so forth. You have not made it right, and you don't plan on making it right. So what do? That pride of yours, well, let's just erase the history. And they've been trying to do that. You know, that I believe that Sarah Palin, that bitch, if I'm not mistaken, I believe she was a part of this new group that they had established where they were trying to get slavery struck from the history books. You could wipe everything off the net concerning slavery. You could wipe out all the pictures. You could go and get rid of all the different monuments. The Lord knows. If the whole world didn't know, the Lord knows. That's why it says that the earth shall no more disclose her blood. You got to pay. You don't want to pay, but you got to pay, and you're going to pay. And your payment and your judgment is going to be horrible. It's going to be miserable, but it's going to be just. It says his eyes shall see his eyes shall see his destruction. Right. First and foremost, you're going to see the destruction of the greatest demonic empire that has ever been on the planet, America. You're going to see that destruction, and afterwards, you're going to see all of those riches that you stole, all this mess over a cracker. Inside joke. All of this wickedness that you've done, and the amount of time and the effort and the machinations of your brain and all the shit that you've done to get all this money and all this wealth. When you're finally going to sit back and enjoy it, the Lord says he's going to cast the fury of his wrath upon you. So what does wickedness prosper? It doesn't. You know, it's prosperous for the moment. It seemed like y'all got away with it because the Most High really hasn't said anything. But he is saying something. But you ain't listening because you're that deaf adder that stoppeth their ears. So the Lord said, before your destruction comes, he's going to reveal the wickedness that you've done. Then he's going to bring the destruction, the missiles and the lasers from the chariots to take you out. That's the only way you're going out. There's no other power that can take. The scriptures say no one was able to make war with the beast. There's no other power that can take you out except for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And that's why he's sending Yahushai, the Archangel Michael, and the other angels to come and take your ass out. And he shall drink of the wrath of the Almighty. You're going to drink it down. Because in the hand of the Lord, there is a cup. And that cup is full of mixture. Go to Psalm 70. Is it 875? No. Yeah, I think it's 75. Or is it 82? 5. Nope. It's Psalm 75. Let's try that. Yep. Psalm 75 and 8, Barak Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. For in the hand of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai there is a cup, and the wine is red. It's ready. It is full of mixture. It says, and he poureth out of the same, but the dregs thereof, the sediment at the bottom, the most potent, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. Yeah, you like to wring people out. You like to beat people down with a continual stroke. You like to squeeze every little bit of life out of people. Well, the Lord's going to squeeze. He's going to squeeze your ass, Esau. And oh, Lord, it's so long overdue. So long overdue. So let's go first. Let's check out this word mixture. It says without mixture, right? No, I'm sorry. It is full of mixture. So the word mixture is masak, a mixture, an example of wine with spices. Mixture, right? Like you have spice wine, you have infused wine, with different herbs and all of that. With the Lord, He's gonna take the dregs of that cup and pour it out on your ass, Esau. Let's see, where's the dregs at? Dregs. The word there is shamar, which means to watch, but in this case, it's lees, dregs, because that settles at the bottom. You ever had like some really good wine, and then you pour it, and then like the very last bit of it, you see like these little chunks and stuff at the bottom. That's the dregs. That's the sediment at the bottom. All right. So that's going to be that shit is strong. It's the most potent part of the wine. So that's what the Lord's going to pour upon you, the fury of his wrath, his indignation, his righteous anger. All right. Let's check out what it says in the NLT. For the Lord holds a cup in his hand that is full of foaming wine mixed with spices. He pours out the wine in judgment, see? And all the wicked must drink it, draining it to the dregs. Woo! You're going to gulp it every day, huh? Let's go to Obadiah. You're going to be gulping it every day, huh? Inside joke. Obadiah 1:15. For the day of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is near upon all the heathen. It's talking about the actual heathen vocab. You listening? As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. All you have to do is go back into the history, see what these devils have done to the apple of the Most High's eye, the Israelites, whether they're wicked or not. You still put your filthy paws on them. You put your filthy paws on us, and you got to pay, sucker. For as you have drunk upon my holy mountain, because it said that they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have surely drunken. And thou he that shall altogether go unpunished, thou shalt not go unpunished. But you're going to swallow it down. It says, for as you have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. This talking about Esau beginning, the first head, Amalek, Esau, the Edomites, beginning with Amalek, Ishmael, and all the rest of you goddamn heathens that had a hand in putting your hands on us. And I the Spirit, showed me, the reason why Esau and but we already know that. And Ishmael are the main enemies. When you read Psalms 83, it's Esau and then Ishmael. Because those were the two, they were the firstborn. But the promise didn't go to them. It went to the secondborn. In the case of Ishmael, it went to Isaac. So he was there, but he missed it. Abraham wanted to give it to him, but the Lord said, nope. And then you had Esau, which is right there at the head, but Jacob got it. So I understand why them two goddamn demons, them two tribes, or them two nations, are so angry and put so much hell on us, because they missed the mark. They were close, but no cigar. It says, yea, they shall drink and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. So you're going to drink it down, and you're going to be as though you had not been. Like we had no status. We still haven't really no status. In slavery, we had no status. When the conquistadors came here, we lost our status. When Judah and Benjamin and Levi were brought here, they lost that status. They were as nothing, nobodies. A slave is a slave. They don't consider that person to be a human being. Judah was so despised that they couldn't even be a man. They had to be 3/5 of a goddamn man. I mean, how fucking low can you go? How much hatred and how much anger and hatred and choler does an individual have to label somebody 3/5 of a man? It's a man. But you're going to label them 3/5 of a man. You motherfucker. You dirty, rotten, soulless, demonic, treacherous, low-life piece of shit motherfucker. Man. But the Lord is rousing that deep hate, that deep Edomite hatred for Jake. He's rousing that shit back up. And it's beautiful. You know why? Because that's going to be, because you're in your mind, you already think that you won. Yeah, we're just gonna get all these, all these undesirables out of here, and then we're gonna be able to enjoy America again. Okay, you believe that, devil, because you're gonna fuck around and find out from the Lord. You know, you're gonna mess with the wrong ones, and the Lord's gonna show you. Then you're gonna be no more like, damn, I thought you was on our side. We're gonna say, we fools, we esteem this life to be madness, this end to be without honor. Oh, you're gonna get it, man. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. But okay, that's it on that. Go back to Job 21:20. His eyes shall see his destruction. He shall drink of the wrath of the Almighty. You're gonna gulp it, and that's going to be the beginning of your punishment. The beginning of your punishment is going to be when your heart sinks when you see your whole society collapse. But that pride in you is going to be like, oh well, I guess we're going to have to start all over again. Continuity of government. Yeah, okay. You believe that. It ain't going to come to pass. It ain't going to come to pass, Esau. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Once your ass goes down, that's it. You're going to be in slavery for 1,000 years of hardcore slavery. And after that, every last one of you devils, from the old men to the young men, to the boys, to the babies, to the old women, to the young women, to the maidens, to the babies, every last one of you goddamn devils are going to be rounded up and burnt. And never again will you ever hear Esau's name again unless you just read it in the scriptures. As a people, you will never, ever set foot on the earth again as a people. Now, we don't know what the Lord is going to do with your spirit because, we know the Lord don't destroy spirits. There was, certain, theories on it, but there's just theories for the time being. But as a nation named Esau, you will never again be on the earth again. For what pleasure hath he in his house after him when the number of his months is cut off in the midst? Yeah, because you have a set appointed time, and we're counting down the months to the end of your empire, which will end in July 4th, 2026. But that's not the end of the world. We don't know when it's going to end. We don't know the exact date, but that will be the 250th year of your empire. And empires, on an average, only last 250 years. After that, and then you see that them losing power. That's why that devil Pete Hegseth said, we're going to bring war to get peace. Basically, he's saying that we're going to put the world back in order. If they don't allow us to be the head again, they're trying to grasp that head position again. But the Lord said he broke the staff of the wicked. And we're seeing your demise. All right, so let's go from there to Psalms 52. It says, why boastest thou thyself in mischief, O mighty man? The goodness of the Most High endureth continually, right, to Israel. Thy tongue deviseth mischief, like a sharp razor working deceitfully. Thou lovest evil more than good. Yeah, and you love evil more than good. You don't love good. And lying rather than to speak righteousness. Allah. That's why the Lord said that to the wicked he says, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenants in thy mouth, seeing thou hatest instructions and castest my words behind thee. The only time you use the Bible is to use the power of the book, not to establish the principles and the laws in that book. Like in the movie Book of Eli, we just saw it the other day. Carnegie, which was played by Gary Oldman. He said, there's power in that book. The people will believe it if it says it in the book. If we want to rule more than one shitty ass town at a time, we have to have the book. And it was beautiful at the end, the way they set it up, because he finally got the book, and then it was locked. It was sealed. It was a seal on it. Then this one devil opened it up, and he grabbed it and looked, and he had this strange look on his face, And then they showed it, and it was written in Braille. So he couldn't see it. And then the woman, right, Jessica Biel, which, I believe, her to be like, I believe she's a Jake. I believe her in, the way I looked at it, she's Israel. And she was being abused by Esau. And then he wanted her to read it and break it down to her, right? And she put her hand, and you saw this smile, this heavenly, glorious smile come on her face. And he said, "You can start anytime now." And she said, "It's been a long time. I forgot. I don't remember." And he was like, "Read it," and like he wanted to get, but he couldn't get the mystery because he was the goddamn devil. Even though, we believe Gary Oldman might be a Jake, but that whole dynamic of that movie was just bad. It was heavy, and then he got so close. She even said, "You finally got the book, but it might as well be a 1,000 miles away," because his leg was rotten. He was dying, and he still didn't get the mystery. Ain't that something? It says, "Thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue," right? And that's why you use the media. That's why you rats, mini caps got, the power of the media so that you can control the narrative. Because you don't like truth. You like to spew your bullshit out there. It says, "The Most High shall likewise destroy thee forever." See? Forever. This is talking about you devils. Because this is King David cursing out Doeg the Edomite. But this applies to you Edomites, because you Edomites are the wicked. This is more proof. It says, "The Most High shall likewise destroy thee forever. He shall take thee away and pluck thee out of thy dwelling place and root thee out of the land of the living." Salah. And he's going to root all of you devils out. All you got to do is read Isaiah 14. "The righteous also shall see it and fear and shall laugh at him." Another scripture, Psalms 58, says that we're going to wash our feet in the blood of the wicked. And King David saw all of this way back then. Going back to like 900 BC? Roughly about 3,000 years ago or so? 900 BC. I hope I said 900. Because he was on the scene roughly around 1,000 BC or so, 1,100, somewhere around there. So about 3,000, 3,200 years, something along those lines, roughly estimating. And he saw you devils taking root on the earth. So did Asaph, which was the son of Berechiah, which was a chief Levitical musician of King David. It says, "Lo, this is the man that made not the Most High his strength." Right, because you said in God you trust, but you didn't make the Most High his strength. Why? Because you're the wicked. "But trusted in the abundance of his riches." See? And that's you international bankers, because it begins with you. "And strengthened himself in his wickedness. But I am like a green olive tree in the house of the Most High. I trust in the mercy of Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai forever and ever. I will praise thee forever, because thou hast done it." Meaning what? Going to take these devils out. "And I will wait on thy name, Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai, for it is good before thy saints." All right. So these devils are going down no matter how you slice it. And you're not going to find a lot of information dealing with the demonic origins of America. DC being established, the pentagram and the all-seeing owl and everything. You're not going to find a lot of that stuff unless you're listening to individuals that have access to the different books and the different information, that speak about these things. Because they're scrubbing a lot of that stuff. Even the chat is funky with it, But nevertheless, it is what it is. It's still coming out, and the Lord's still going to judge this place. And it's true because the Lord said it was true. He said this place is going to be established upon sorcery, the wizardry and warlocks and all of that. And it is, and it's going to go out and be destroyed and burnt by fire. So with that, I pray that you brothers and sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.